CBT Nuggets Network Plus series, Hardware Tools. Well, you finally made it. 30 nuggets later of the Network Plus series, and we're finally to the final nugget of this series. Congratulations. We're going to look here in this final nugget at a kind of a plethora or a laundry list of different hardware tools that you can use as a network technician that can help you troubleshooting pretty much the physical layer of the OSI model. In this nugget, we're going to look at pictures of different types of tools: cable testers, probes, protocol analyzers, certifiers, TDRs, multimeters, different cable tools, voltage event recorders, and a temperature monitor. Well, the first tool we have here is a cable tester, and these are electronic devices that we use to verify the electrical connections and electrical conditioning in a cable. And we've got testers and analyzers for twisted pair cables, of course, fiber optic cables. This is an older Ethernet cable tester. They usually have a combination of tools, testing the source of electric current, a voltmeter, and some way to test all the contact points in the cable. These can do a continuity test where current is passed down the connection, and if there's a current, the connection's assumed to be a good one. There's also a resistance test where a known current's passed down the connection and the voltage that shows up is measured. Sometimes you have toners and sometimes you have probes. This is a toner probe that combines technologies. This one's by Harris. Another very popular brand is Fluke. Certain toner probes can combine digital and analog signaling all in one tool. For example, like this one. And this is used to trace and locate data cabling safely and effectively on active networks. You can isolate individual wire pairs. You can also trace voice, audio, and video cabling as well. It isolates individual wire pairs precisely by changing the tone when shorted. It can trace and locate all different types of cabling. A butt set is actually a lineman's handset. It's used typically by telephone technicians. Think about, Glenn Campbell, Wichita lineman. This is a Harris lineman's handset, and it's used to install and test local loop telephone lines. This lineman's handset is also referred to as a test set, again, the butt set, or a Butinsky. Most of these handsets are designed to be used with the analog, plain old telephone system lines, typically not digital circuits like ISDN. The modern ones have a variant of the standard 12-button keypad as seen here, along with a pair of test leads. Here's a protocol analyzer, and these are typically hardware and or software tools. This, of course, is a combination of hardware and software. It's used for monitoring and analyzing digital data traffic that's passing over a wide variety of medium, over a network promiscuously. It can plug into a hub or a switch or a digital bus. These are used for logging traffic, for sniffing traffic, like, for example, Wireshark. It can intercept traffic like an intrusion detection system. It can do analysis, network monitoring. These are used for troubleshooting and, of course, reporting. Now, when you hear the term protocol analyzer, it may also refer to an IP packet analyzer, which is a little bit more specific than this device here. It only focuses on the Internet protocol. It could also be a telecom network protocol analyzer, which obviously is used in telecom services. So obviously we're analyzing more specifically IP protocols here, but it can operate at several layers of the OSI model. It can be hardware, software, or a combination of both. What you see here is a certifier or a network certifier doing a cable category digital test. You can see it's plugged right into the RJ45 female jack. It would go right there into the cubicle, for example. This operates at 10 megabit per second, fast Ethernet gigabit testers that can be used for individual cables and for local area networks. These can do speed testing. They can test for and report on cable propagation delay, cable skew, and they can operate with different types of cables: Category 3, Category 5, Category 5E, and Category 6. These can also port the output to a laptop or a PC, so you can save the test and print the test, kind of similar to like what that network analyzer, the protocol analyzer, can do that we just showed you. Certifiers. Here's a TDR, specifically a TDR44 by Pantong. This is a time domain reflectometer. This instrument characterizes and locates faults in twisted pair cables and coaxial cables, cables that use some type of metallic like copper. It can be used to locate discontinuities in a connector. It can locate printed circuit board issues, or really any electrical path. Now this is the TDR that we use for metallic cables. It transmits a short, what we call rise time pulse along the conductor. But we can also use one for optical fiber. This one won't work for optical, but we have an option for optical. Let's take a look at that one. This is an OTDR, very popular, Yokogawa. This is an optical TDR, or optoelectronics, that characterize optical fibers, injecting a series of optical pulses into the fiber. It can also extract from the same end of the fiber light, and can be used to estimate the fiber's length and overall attenuation. You can also locate splice and connector losses as well. You can locate faults such as breaks and measure optical return loss, OTDR. What we see here are some multimeters. It's spelled like multimeter, but it's actually pronounced multimeter. It's also referred to as a multi-tester. This is a volt-ohm meter, or VOM, electronic measuring instrument. It combines several things into one unit, like several of the things we've seen already so far in this Nugget movie. It can measure voltage, current, and resistance. You've got analog multimeters and digital multimeters. And typically it looks like this. These are handheld devices for basic fault finding and field service work, or it can be a bench instrument to measure with very high degrees of accuracy. Typically they operate on household batteries, but they can also be bigger, larger units that have other types of power supplies as well. They can be cheap, like these are pretty inexpensive, but they can be all the way up to $5,000. Multimeters. Now earlier in this Nugget series we looked at different punch-down blocks and the different wiring schemes for cable types, and we need some tools like this punch-down tool here to be able to punch it down into the 66 block or the 110 block. We also want to be able to strip away pieces of wire and cut cables. These strippers and crimpers can be used also to work with all different various types of wires. They're adjustable, they can fit different widths. Some of these can work with digital, some of these can work with coax, so they're just very flexible tools. Crimpers, snippers, cutters, crimpers. Here's a tool you may use as a network professional. Most likely this is under the kind of umbrella of the electrician, but obviously in lots of different areas you're going to combine electrical wiring with your network wiring. So you can use this tool, for example, just to test the voltage in your electric plugs throughout your building. Chances are you may not use this, but you can see here we've also got this tool that plugs in, and we can also get a graphical interface that allows us to do some analysis as well and reporting. Remember, we can also send digital transmissions over the electric power supply, and you'll start to see this as a kind of another emerging technology. We know we've got power over Ethernet, okay? So we've got the capability to even move data over the power wires, and that opens up another whole can of worms for security, but realize we also need tools that can allow us to analyze that as well. And finally, any disaster recovery plan is going to make sure that not only do you have physical security, but also you want to control the environment of your networking area, your data center, your wiring closet, your server room. You want to make sure that you have the environment under control. That means having humidity and temperature in certain areas, exactly the way you want it. As you can see here, we're using this digital thermometer to bring it in at 67.88. And if you ever deal with a data center, you've ever been in a data center, you know those systems get really, really hot, and data centers are typically, they have pretty elaborate HVAC systems to make sure that you've always got proper cooling, as well as controlling, of course, the barometric pressure and humidity, and also having other systems that are, fire systems as well to prevent fires that break out. So a lot of times the temperature systems and HVAC and fire systems all kind of work hand in hand as one package. So again, here's a nice little survey of some of the physical kind of handheld tools that you may need to operate at the physical layer of OSI model, and of course maybe some physical security, maintenance, electrical, all those good things that are kind of part of the full package of being a network operator, a network technician, and a network engineer. Well, in this final nugget of the CBT Nuggets Network Plus Series 2009, we covered a survey of hardware tools, cable testers, toner probes, butt sets, protocol analyzers, certifiers, time domain reflectometers, optical versions of that, the OTDR, multimeters, different types of cable tools for punch down and snipping and crimping, the voltage event recorder, and temperature monitors. Well, you know what? I want to congratulate you on finishing a very long but extremely in-depth series. And I want to offer you some advice here as we kind of close up this Nugget series. I think that it'll be very valuable for you if you have the time to now go back through this entire Nugget series again one more time. And it's extremely important because so much terminology was covered early on that couldn't be explained in detail until we got into later nuggets. And I really believe that it's going to not only help prepare you for the exam, but also make you, in the long run, a better network technician, a better network operator and engineer. So if you didn't take notes and outline, for example, the first time through, I know it's a lot of nuggets, but I believe it's worth it. Go back through a second time and take some notes and outline the entire Nugget series. If you did take notes the first time, then go back through and probably scan all of those, or maybe find and isolate those particular nuggets that you find to be maybe some of the areas that you're not strongest in, some areas that you might be challenged with as a network professional, and go back through and cover those particular nuggets. Also, make sure you go up to CompTIA's website and go and check out the PDF files that they have up there, and make sure you're up to date with all of the newest objectives. I feel extremely confident that I covered all of the objectives of the Network Plus exam and more information, bringing you my real-world experience. That being said, again, my name is Michael Shannon. On behalf of myself and the entire family at CBT Nuggets, we want to thank you again for choosing CBT Nuggets as your training solution, and I want to wish you all the success, not only on the Network Plus exam, but in your networking future and your life. Once again, take care. We hope to see you soon again in another CBT Nuggets series.